Everyone talks about Yellowstone, Yosemite, Zion, but what if I told you some of the best national parks in the US are the ones most people skip? Less crowded, easier to explore, and sometimes even more memorable. Hi, I'm Teresa from an acre in the city. I've traveled to all 50 states and over 80% of the National Park Service sites. And over time, I've realized some of my favorite experiences aren't at the most popular parks. So today I'm sharing with you 5 underrated national parks you should visit in 2026. One feels like a different planet, and the other one totally surprised me. And I'll help you figure out which of these parks might actually be right for your trip. Because underrated doesn't always mean easy to visit. Let's start with Great Basin National Park in Nevada. It's one of the least visited national parks, but it's easily one of the most surprising. Great Basin has a really unique mix of landscapes. You've got deserts, alpine mountains, and even ancient bristlecone pine trees. We visited during the spring. While the main road wasn't completely open, we just went as far as we could. That ended up being part of our experience. There was still snow on some parts of the trail, and it made everything feel quieter and more peaceful. We only encountered one other person on the hike that we did. We also did the Lehman Cave tour, which was totally cool. It adds a completely different dimension to this park. This is one of those places where you don't expect there to be much going on, and then it completely surprises you. Now, if you want something completely different, head to Dry Tortugas National Park in Florida. This one feels like an escape. Dry Tortugas is located about 70 miles off the coast of Key West, and you can only get there by seaplane or by boat. We opted for the boat option. Be sure to book reservations quickly for the boat or the seaplane. They fill up fast. We went over Thanksgiving week and our weather was fantastic. Key West wasn't overly crowded, which made the whole trip feel way more relaxed. Like I said, we took the boat tour and it really didn't seem like that long of a boat ride, which was great because in reality it is kind of a long ride. And once you're there, you've got crystal clear waters, perfect for snorkeling. And of course, Fort Jefferson. This massive historical site sits right on the water. But there is one thing to keep in mind if you're traveling during Thanksgiving week, especially on Thanksgiving Day. Most restaurants will probably be closed, making it kind of tricky to find somewhere to eat. But overall, this is one of the most unique park experiences you can have. And if you're starting to realize that these parks might take a little more planning than you expected, that's exactly why I created my National Parks Tip Guide. It helps you plan trips like this, especially places that aren't quite so straightforward, because you don't want to miss any important details. You can grab that in the link below, because the goal isn't just to find these parks, it's to actually enjoy them. Now let's head somewhere that feels a little more familiar, but still flies under the radar. Lassen Volcano National Park in California. Lassen feels a lot like Yosemite, but without the crowds. You've got geothermal features, mountains, lakes, all in one park. We've been there a few times, and each visit feels a little different. One of my favorite hikes is the Hell Bump Pass. It gets you pretty close to the geothermal areas. And one thing that I love seeing on one of our trips, there was a school group hiking the trail. While it slowed things down for us, it was really fun to watch the kids experience the park and learn about nature. Also, be sure to check out the lake by the visitor center. It's totally worth a little hike. This is one of the parks that feels familiar, but still really peaceful. Now let's go somewhere that doesn't get nearly enough attention. Theodore Roosevelt National Park in North Dakota. This park completely surprised me during my last visit. It has that Badlands style of landscape, but feels quieter and more spread out. I've been there more than once, and one thing that really stands out is how different each unit is. The North unit is definitely less visited, and it totally feels more remote. And one of the most memorable things, even just stopping at the rest area along the freeway, you can often spot bison nearby. It's one of those parks where wildlife just feels present, because it is. If you're looking for something a little less crowded, this park is a great option. And finally, one of the most unique landscapes in the entire park system, White Sands National Park in New Mexico. It almost doesn't feel real when you're standing there. The sand is bright white, and it sparkles in the sunlight. And the way wind creates ripples across the dunes makes it constantly look different. One of my favorite things there is just watching people slide down the dunes on their sleds. It's simple, but it's fun. And it makes the whole park feel real interactive. It's one of those places that is visually stunning, but can also be really enjoyable to explore. So here's the thing. Underrated doesn't always mean easy. Some of these parks take a little more planning. Some require travel logistics. Some are more remote. So when you're choosing, think about these things. How much time do you have? How comfortable are you with planning? And how much driving or travel do you want to do? So if you're planning a trip in 2026 and want something a little different, these underrated national parks are absolutely worth considering. If you want help planning your trip, grab my National Parks Trip Guide. It's linked below. And if you're trying to figure out how to actually build a route that connects parks together, check out my video on the best national park road trips for beginners. That'll help you pull everything together. And tell me in the comments, which of these parks would you visit first?